Well, team, wouldn't you know it? Looks like somebody was talking about a potential tech rollover. We were talking about that yesterday, taking our swing in AMD and not mad about it as we saw tech turn around today. Let's get into the action. Let's talk all about it here. First thing we're going to take a look at, of course, is the SPY action. Let's take a look at that first. You can see on the 15-minute today, we definitely declined. Now we're coming back towards the 407.50 area. We're going to look to see if we reject that, come right back down to these levels. So let's definitely focus on that. Another thing that I'll be looking at, will we get a move right back down in the Qs? That's really what I've been focused on, is the tech turnaround. And right out the gates today, we got that turnaround. And I think it was very important, kind of, drawing some levels here. Let's go to the 1 hour chart and see where the support was, see where we broke this morning. And we were having this kind of little setup, right? It was looking like it wanted to continue higher. And in the pre-market, we tried to get a little bit of a move up there towards 319 and then really cut through the 318 here on the Qs out the gates, downside action there. So that helped me out definitely in the AMD trade. We were able to take some profits on this one, and not a bad trade at all on AMD. We were even able to get profits down there towards 92. So it was overall like a 4.6% top shares down there. And as we opened up, I just took some profit, and then just let it ride all the way down there, taking final profits towards 92.06. Not mad at this position at all. And as that AMD was working, I went after a new one in, of course, live trading. If you guys caught it, that was a short on Microsoft, and it was a battle on this Microsoft. It got in, got out, got in, got out, and that was a ability to go back into this name on Microsoft, see it get the takedown towards that 283.50. Not bad at all. We were able to take some profits. Top profits so far being towards 283.34. So not going to be mad about this Microsoft trade. And I do think it can go lower. So I still have a piece of this from 285.55. And that's going to be slightly up here. And I'll show you guys where that's at. That's like kind of right up here towards the 55 area. So we'll look to see if we come back up to these levels. But for right now, as long as it can stay below 285s, this could keep going lower. So I'm going to keep an eye on it. We'll see what happens there in Microsoft. And you can definitely see the tech trade in kind of the SOX S trade on the day trade side. We were looking at this yesterday. It continued to go higher towards today, towards the 1920s. And also the SQQQs were something that we were even playing yesterday. Now up there to 3130s. Is this a bigger turnaround in tech? I think what we need to do is take a look at the big boys, right? The big boys are going to tell us a lot. So you guys out there, smash the like. Let's get to some of the big boys. Of course, Apple getting hit today and pulling back. This is very important, right? You guys saw me just talk about Microsoft. Well, now you're seeing Apple pull back. And this was one of the bullish charts in the market right now. I think this is definitely a really nice bullish chart. You guys can see it's pulling back right now. Is it completely breaking down? No. So this could be a pullback opportunity for those that want to take part in the tech rally. So just kind of wait on the sidelines, because really, what are we worried about? We're worried about is if we get some bank situation to show up again. But if no bank situation happens here, should we be looking for opportunities on pullbacks with technology coming right back down? So I definitely think that that's a great opportunity to kind of watch. We will see what happens there. And I don't mind trying to take it down to those levels to see that bounce eventually happen. Really, I think it's all about also watching the banks. But as you guys can see, Apple pulling back here to the 9 EMA. And it's been multiple times where it's caught the 9 EMA and gone right back up. So same thing for like the SPY, right? The SPY was pushing off here. Could we just come back to the 9 EMA and then take the next push higher through that 410? Definitely we're leaving room with that, but the weakness in some of these stocks just doesn't look good right now. So that's why I'm keeping riding the trend. Even Google turning around from this kind of 107 break today. And they gave some good news today. Google talking about how they had a better chip than NVIDIA. That's interesting. Definitely comments today were interesting on the AI supercomputer that it's faster and greener than NVIDIA's A100 chip. Google touting about their tensor processing unit, the TPU. And you guys can see how this kind of trend line came right into play. And now you're turning around from it. Are we going to see a move back towards 100? Or are we just going to get the next attempt to the 106? Something to keep in mind. You guys can see today how Google came down there. Will it kind of fade here towards the close, towards 104? It very much could, especially if we get a move right back down in the queues. And you guys are seeing that happen right now. So with this opportunity and starting to see this weakness, I could actually go shorting on some names if I see some like above VWAP. NVIDIA looks interesting for me towards that 267, but it's already gone pretty significantly down on the day. Got to keep an eye out on that. Definitely, I mean, 280, 270, 265. It's already kind of getting hit hard there. Looking at AMD maybe to get back into this name, but it is just already faded off the VWAP there. So I would have liked it closer towards like 92.50s here. But StockX could take another step up here. So if I wanted, I could try to day trade this up here towards the 1920s. I'm not going to take any day trades, more looking for some swing trade opportunities. But I don't know if this tech trade is going to continue to the weak side overnight. So I'm just going to stick with my Microsoft trade. But look at this Tesla rejection from 186 VWAP. That looks good here for it to come right back down through that 184. We'll look to see if we cut through that 184 and keep going lower for Tesla. And if Tesla's going lower, be careful out there. There's a lot of names starting to take a hit, especially names that were really strong and now have turned around. So even the growth names like in the ARKK, they definitely taking a beating right now. So SARK was an opportunity today. As you guys see that one go higher, it tells me a little bit to maybe take a look at SARK. There's a lot of bottoming action in SARK. Now, the only question is what's going to happen with this pattern? Is it going to come back up through kind of the 45 and start getting really ramping to the higher end? Or will we just kind of just go sideways here in these kind of against Kathy names, right? This is against the growth trade. And Unity was really strong. Now right back down to 30. Of course, happy I took profit on this and didn't just wait for it to come back down, but we'll see if this is an opportunity on the pullback. All right, another stock that was having a decent day on the day was FedEx. They put out some news for their dividend. Let's take a little peek at it, see how it traded on the day. You guys can see it did have that spike, but now pulling back towards the 230 areas. We'll see what happened on this one, but I do like how it came back all the way through the gap, filling that gap back down kind of into the yesterday's price range. Now trying to find a little bit of a bounce, but is FedEx something I'm really going after? Probably not right now. Walmart was something that also reiterated Q1 adjusted EPS outlook. It wasn't the best outlook, but still getting a little bit of a bump on that. And the discount stores now starting to push higher. This actually doesn't look like a bad little move. Now you're really starting to push higher. Nice little bullish engulfing candle here on Walmart. With Walmart going higher, I'm looking for Costco to take out 500 on the up, on the kind of the bullish move right here. You can see how we've pulled back here multiple times. It looks like it's just getting ready for another move back through the 500 on the daily. And if we could get through 520s, I really like this chart. So it's going to be one that I would have to stick really close to the name and come in it really small. Why? Because it's a $497 stock, right? I can't come at with, instantly 100 shares. That's easily a way to get wrecked. So we'll see what happens on this Costco. I do like this outlook overall, but it needs to get moving, get back up above 100. Maybe we could look for the move above 100 and then the pull back to that level so that we don't get too crazy on the first move and actually look to see if we get that real pop through the 500s. That's Costco. BJ's is one way that I'd be looking for that. I wanted to see this stock come back after taking a hit as of late. And you guys can see it took a hit right back to the high end of the range. And that was in early January. It's right back up there to 76 and could break through the 78 range on the high end. What do you guys see up here, right? You guys know that I talk about the rule of 4 or the rule of 3, right? And when you're getting up there, It's about 3 attempts. And on the 4th attempt, we're looking for breakouts. So we'll see what happens here on BJ if it can get back up there, especially back into this space. 78, 79 does look strong if it can do that move. We'll see what happens there. BJ. All right, let's keep it going. We'll take a look at some other names. Of course, these are just names that are standing out for me, part of the day that stood out. Of course, we can get into some other ones. We'll go into what was hot and what was not. But let me check in with you guys in the chat. How we doing out there? It's good to see you guys. I haven't been reading too much, so let me try to catch up as fast as I can. Shout out to Milky Fade and Easy Mike for being here early. Milky Fade even adding healthcare had a good day. Yes, it did, my friend. We'll talk a little bit about that coming up here. Let's keep it going. And yeah, I told you, man, you ready to run the show, Milky? Come on, I got you. All right, Walter, how we doing out there? Rez, how we doing? Fresh design. What's going on? Let's get it going here. Leon, Michigan, let's go. Michigan people in the house. Carmen in the house. It's good to see you guys out there. We got Black Beauty Machine. Stop playing your bills. Come on. The cop is going to come get you. Yeah, you know, we might need to pay the bills, right? Eventually they come calling eventually. JBHT, hard hit today. We'll take a look at that. Hammer. What's going on out there, Hammer? How we doing? All right, let's get to the action. Let's go looking underneath the hood, seeing what sectors were strong today and what was not. All right, let's get to the action. Of course, utilities actually led the move up. And I talked about this earlier in the week, that we maybe want to play kind of like an XLU outlook, right? XLU doesn't move often. But one of the things is with the interest rate outlook that it's not going to be higher interest rates down the line, that eventually we could see cutting interest rates. You're starting to see these utilities starting to get a nice little run. So NextEra Energy on my radar. We talked about how this looked like an inverse head and shoulders here at the bottom. Now we've gotten through the neckline. That's 77. And yesterday we got a kind of a hint. We went through 77. And what do we do today? We pull back right to 77 on that low. So NextEra Energy really starting to get going. I'd look for pullbacks below 78s. But like always, you guys do what you guys want to call there. XL Energy, another one that's on my radar. Look at this move today. Little pullback action here out the gates, right back up there to 71.12s. I'm going to keep an eye out on this one. Duke Energy can definitely continue going higher. That's not looking too bad at all. Put a nice little candle in right now. I'd look for pullbacks on that one towards kind of 97.50s, but it's already up there to 99.12s. So XLU really getting the move there on the utilities. Communication services coming behind that. Not looking too bad in those. Dividend plays looking good. Verizon, T-Mobile right here. Nice little up move towards the 150. This one actually doesn't look bad. And on the long run, I don't find T-Mobile a bad stock to have. Now they have like internet that they're giving for really cheap price. They're trying to find ways to continue growing is T-Mobile. We'll see if it can actually start getting run after it gets back here towards the 150. Maybe we get a little bit of a pullback towards 148, but I'm going to look for the next time it wants to get through that 150. AT&T, and of course, a dividend player that a lot of people go after. It's had a nice couple of days as it starts to run higher, about 7% day in that communication services stock, AT&T. Healthcare. We talked a little bit about this. Let's get into some more action here in healthcare. I've been calling that this is where an area that has started seeing some strength. I've been looking at the drug manufacturer names and a little bit frustrated, team. I always like to let you guys know on the transparency. I did get stopped out on Pfizer yesterday. That was a little frustrating because today it just goes. And that's just how it is. One thing that I'm starting to learn and thinking about is on these kind of healthcare names, a lot of the times I get stopped out on the pullback day. And why? Because I'm not giving myself enough room on the daily chart. So if you see on this stock, it kind of has like an average to move about 75 cents. I need to be able to give myself that 75 cents or even a full point on these names to really give the stock some momentum move and some room to get that move, right? And so you could see it here on Pfizer. If I would have been able to get a whole kind of point range move, which I got in this one at like, I think it was like the 4130s, was looking for the continued push higher towards 42, and really got to give myself the range, because if I did, I would have been able to hold down here towards the 4030s. Instead, I cut out of there into the 4080s for a really, really tiny loss, but that didn't give it enough room to actually get moving. Pfizer here, not bad move there. Of course, we saw Johnson & Johnson higher. Look at Lilly higher. This is one that I also got stopped out in the 330s when this was coming back. When I was looking for this trade to start getting hot, I was definitely early to the trade and missed out on this nice run here by Eli Lilly. And I thought that it could eventually come back here to the 370s. We're almost there already, 365. So you could see Lilly pull back in a couple of days. AbbVie, since their earnings, continuing. Merck, really nice day. AZN going higher. NVS, after it did this big gap up, oh, it didn't even stop going. It just kept running there. Bristol Myers was one that I was watching today on the pullback. It got up there to the 70s. This one could start getting moving, but definitely also keep your eyes on some other areas like healthcare plans. We talked about how Medicaid could affect these stocks. One of the ones that I was watching, I talked about it on PreMarket Prep, was Cigna. Nice move for Cigna today, 3.73%, up about 2.8 from the open. This is definitely one that I want on a pullback. It's already gotten moving. We'll see what happens there on Cigna as it starts making its way back. Definitely, there's some other ones here that you guys can watch for. MOH had a good one today. Molina Healthcare, similar stock right now, starting to make its way back after really getting beaten down. All right, let's keep going. Best swings have found on the weekly bias and daily setup. Yeah, I think that that's not a bad way to looking at it, Hammer. You're looking at the bias based, like if I'm going bullish or bearish, based on the weeklies, and then going after daily setups. Doesn't seem too bad, Hammer. Got to hammer down, right? Not too mad. Not a big NFT fan? Man, you gotta look into it. Doesn't look too bad for certain areas, but let's keep going to it. Let's take a look at what else is going on. Johnson & Johnson, I think it's only a Warren Buffett holding in healthcare. Johnson & Johnson is only Warren Buffett's holding. Yeah. I mean, Johnson & Johnson, I mean, they're not going to go away, right? Let's just be honest. CL, Colgate, and Unilever, boring but selling. Yeah, definitely. Let's take a look at that. That's kind of more of what you would call your value play there. So I'm definitely keeping an eye on those value names there. Let's talk a little bit about that, Sabrina. That's actually not a bad conversation to get into. Where are those names going to be found? Those names, not Unilever, but let's get into the action here with like Colgate. Let's take a look at like consumer defensive stocks and how those are doing, right? I was trying to keep an eye out on some of these. Of course, we talked about Walmart. Have you guys seen the recent move in PG, Procter Gamble? Look at this up move. Really strong move. I was watching it when it was down here. And one of the things that I've heard about, and I've said this on the show, is that in the second quarter, you have a tendency of seasonality going towards more value names and not towards the growth names. It looks to me like this is a move to value in certain areas. That's why I'm looking at it, maybe a Costco getting that 500 move and higher. Look at PepsiCo. I talked about PepsiCo when it was up here, and I was like, man, are we just going to get that run back? It pulled back, and I completely forgot about it. Now it's up there to 184. I would expect Coke to start getting higher too. And look how Coke got higher. Nice little pullback to the 60s. Now continuing a nice little run higher. And so these kind of value names, these are the ones that I think we got to keep an eye out, because they're just stair-stepping their way higher here and starting to keep the run kind of pushing forward. And so one that I'll put on the radar here is KDP. This one doesn't look too bad. It has been trying to make them push, hasn't really make a run, but if these other ones are going to make a push, they could keep going higher. We'll see what happens in these consumer defensive names if they continue to push. Of course, you guys can keep an eye out on different ones. Like if we go into farming products. Let's take a look there, how those are looking. ADM, let's take a look. Daily doesn't look that great on that one. Let's see how these, Calmaine Foods, that one definitely did a turnaround. It was starting to look like it wanted to go to 62, and that's really hard turnaround there. Household products is where we were talking about. CL, right? Colgate, Palmolive. That looks a little bit strong. Nice little up move. Nice little pullback now. It's actually an opportunity to get in somewhere in here towards the 75. I'll keep an eye out on this one. Unilever too, right? That's a nice little move there. That's starting to go a little bit higher here. Look at that one. Nice little move there for the 54. We'll see that can continue going here. Estee Lauder. That one's down on the day there. Let's take a look at Clorox. Clorox, can that make a move up? This one did a little bit of a gap move. Now starting to make a little bit of a move higher. This one doesn't look too bad. They just kind of stair step its way to the upside. We'll keep an eye out on these consumer department, defensive sector. All right, Johnson & Johnson, gap up, Dragonfly, Doji, says Brian on that Johnson & Johnson. We'll see. Man, that's a nice little move there. I'll tell you what, that's definitely the three white shoulders just really taking off. Johnson & Johnson to 165.16. And we were looking for this move. So a little frustrating to miss a move like this. Is a nice 7% move there. And one thing that you see here is all green in those big drug manufacturers. So keep that on the radar. I'm here, bud. I need a drink with this nasty market. You and I both, Captain. We all need a drink after this market, right? I mean, it's a tough one. It's not easy, right? Hammer, I watched some YouTube videos about that. Let's keep going. Let's take a look. Anybody else get the ringworm? Oh, man. Walter, what's going on out there, team? Stay safe out there. Don't be rubbing up on that. All right, let's keep going. The chicken pox. Oh, man, I'm glad. I don't think I even got the chicken pox. I'm not sure, to tell you the truth. I probably got it so young that I don't remember. Let's keep going. Let's take a look at what else is hot today. Energy bouncing back today after it was looking kind of red at first to begin with. XOM coming right back on the day. Chevron actually stopped me out earlier in the day. Now it's starting to come back here towards 169.34. So doesn't look too bad in Chevron to start making a little bit of an up move. Honestly, about the oil trade, it's going to be difficult. I'm going to keep a close eye to see if we ever come back into this gap for the XLE. But right now, it looks like we don't want to go into that gap. We'll see if we ever finally do reject on the oil trade. But it's hanging on for right now, and definitely don't want to be fighting it. Rebecca, you think ringworm sounds great? Oh, no. I'll pass on that one. KHC. Yeah, we can take a look. The Kraft Heinz, right? Ketchup is definitely needed. That's for sure. We're trying to do a little bit of a catch-up trade, right? We'll see. I like the weekly on this. I like how we just got back through 39s. So that's probably where I'd be looking for some pullback area towards 39 tomorrow. If we can get below that, it doesn't look too bad for the value trade, right? We'll see what happens there. Let's keep it going, team. XLU up 2.68%. Yeah, definitely a strong one. Let's take a look at some of those other trades. Let's look at what was not hot today. Of course, technology taking a real bad beating there. We talked about some of these names, but we can keep pointing towards others too. Meta is one that I'm thinking about turning around on. And you guys can see today that definitely turned around fast from that 215. We'll keep watch to see if these just continue to leak. I still have Microsoft, but I don't want to go too much double dipping and triple dipping into short tech because it's the strongest area as of late and could always turn right back around. We'll see what happens there in these tech names. We could talk about some of these if you guys want to. Keep throwing up some names in the chat. Solar overall, definitely really starting to break. And I'm starting to get interested in one name here, FSLR. Finally turning around to show me that it wants to break 200 again. And yeah, it's down there. It's bouncing a little bit right now. I want to see if we can maybe get a little bit of a bounce tomorrow and then flush through the 200. So for right now, I'm not going after First Solar, but definitely keeping it on my radar. And ENPH fans out there, I'm sorry about the way that this one's working because it takes a look like it wants to start going positive pretty often. It's done it multiple times, but what happens often? A move right back down. And EMPH has been pretty weak as of late, especially since the beginning part of the year. Not a strong stock by any means. We'll see what happens there on ENPH. Definitely these solar stocks, they don't look that great, especially like this JKS pulled back down, never got back through the 60s, tried to get there and start breaking out, but couldn't do it. We'll see what happens on these. I was starting to look to see if software application was going to get some up moves, some of the cheaper names, but look at today's move. Shop right back down, right? Uber right back down. What about that Lyft yesterday that everybody wanted to talk about? You guys see it right back down on Lyft. There's a reason why I was avoiding it, but hey, we'll see what happens. PSA is one that I'm going to keep on watch. I know someone brought up Cube here. I think that was yesterday. This one actually started the day not looking too bad. It was even on the gap scanner. So we're going to keep an eye out on this PSA, see if it comes right back up. It has tried down into this gap. You can see it's tried multiple times. Nice move back through kind of 308s. Doesn't look too bad there for a public storage stock. And I'm looking at that one with Cube Smart. Look at Cube Smart pulling back here on the hourly. Kind of like this outlook here for Cube Smart. And I don't really trade these often, but it seems to make sense here, especially on the nice little pullback day. If we can get back through 48, doesn't look bad at all. All right, let's keep going through different stocks here. Consumer cyclicals, another area to kind of keep an eye out. Those are the high beta names. Of course, in here, you're going to have different type of names. Mickey D's was supposed to get their layoffs numbers. Did we ever get those layoffs numbers? I'm not sure if we ever got them or not. Nike pulling back after having a strong day yesterday. Disney down a little bit today. Netflix down a little bit today. Just seems like this area definitely got hit a little bit today. Starbucks is one that is strong today. And you guys know we were even looking at a Bros trade. Bros continued higher this morning. We'll keep an eye out on Starbucks to see if that can continue moving higher. That's definitely one stock that, you know, I'll tell you right now, I've gotten Starbucks completely wrong. And sometimes you're going to get them right. Sometimes you're going to get them wrong. This is one that Zoltan in the chat, if you're out there, man, I got this one wrong. It is what it is. Hammer, what does Cube do? It does public storage, like your public storage units, right? Public storage increased their fees over the past 2 years, somewhat a lot. I have a unit since like 2017. Yeah, definitely increased their cost, right? And I mean, they're kind of really simple businesses to run. I mean, Cube does not look too bad. I'm not going to lie. I kind of like this move. Look at the weekly chart too. Weekly chart had a nice little move, came up here, pulled back, came up here, pulled back. Now we're really trying to get the motor going here. Keep watch on this Cube Smart to see if it can get back up through the 48. Back up through that 48. You could get maybe towards 50, 52, 54, 56. Doesn't look too bad there. I'm going to keep it on watch. Doesn't look by any means as a bad stock to watch here in this area. And there's a couple of these, right? I mean, look at this EXR. Same thing. It's a storage stock. It does look strong here. I'm keeping these on my radar. There's something there that I want to definitely watch. And when that move happens, I don't want to miss it. Look at this Life Storage already taking off. Woo! LSI. I don't know this one. $12 billion already taken off. And telling me what? That this space is pretty hot right now, at least the industry. All right, we'll see what else is up there. KC. Yeah, we'll keep watch on Casey's. You know I like that one. I've been looking for see if that one can come back. Nice little daily candle as at least it starts trying to work its way back to 218. Really needs to get to like 220s. Once Casey gets to 220s, it's going to start looking a lot more bullish. We'll see what happens there. All right, Microsoft still fighting, not really going down, not really coming up right now. Let's take a look at the Qs. How's that doing right now? Looks like we came down to 315, now bouncing around, really just kind of sideways in the last hour. And I think that we're going to continue to see some sideways action. All right, let's keep going, team. Smash the like out there if you guys are enjoying the show. We got a lot more for you guys here. Let's take a look at some different areas. Let's go to the industrial area. I talked about how this area really saw a flush down yesterday in 3 names particularly too. I was looking at Deere, Cat, Honeywell, right? Those types of names. What would happen to them today? Look at the Deere move. Man, what a move here, team. This is one that I feel like I should have been shorting after yesterday's move. Definitely should have kept an eye on it and missed a massive opportunity to get short Deere today, down 5.24%. And we were talking about this just yesterday, but did it really give us an opportunity? Not really. I mean, this thing was a straight downturn move there in Deere. And I talked about how that could affect Cat and also Picard. Picard could be coming right back down. And boom, there you guys see it. Right back down on Picard to the 68s. And we were just trading this just the other day. We traded it on this up move. Look how quickly this trade has turned around. This is why I'm really thinking about shorting GE. And I was talking about this yesterday. I was like, oh, should we go after GE again? I'm trying to be patient, team. I think this could be a big trade. So have to be slower to the trade and kind of watch it, wait for it to work versus just jumping in really quickly, right? We'll see what happens here. Just going to keep working it, team. Let's see what else goes on there. GE is definitely on my radar now. But look at Honeywell. Honeywell in the red today, and I think if it cracks right back to the 185s, we could see GE finally give up that recent move. BA is one that I got to be a little bit more concerned about. We got back up there towards the resistance. Now 2 pullbacks days. We'll see what happens there. Oil going higher. Doesn't really make things great. But you know what's one stock that we did kind of get stopped out in that I was talking about 470. I should have been able to hold to that level because we were looking for a 500 run. I know you guys keep up with start swing trading. Lockheed Martin was one of those that we were looking for a run to 490s, 500. It was in the 470s. We got stopped out in the 471. Should have been holding towards that 470 mark because, man, that was a nice move there. We were looking at this one on the 14th, updated it on the 27th. That's really when we were trading it, looking for that 490 move on this defensive move. And, man, we missed out on that, Lockheed Martin. Got to be able to deal with some of this volatility, right? This is a smaller name in the sense that smaller in the volatility, right? Doesn't really move too much. But I was looking for this nice breakout. Got to give myself a little bit more room to be able to capture one like this. All right, it's not easy. It's not easy to capture one like this, but look at the RTX move. I definitely think NOC could start getting moving now. Doesn't look too bad. We'll see if it can get back up there to the 500 spot. LHX starting to come back too. L3 Harris, yeah, starting to bounce back a little bit. Let's go to the Qs here. Qs. What's going to happen? Are we going to see another downturn or are we going to bounce here above the VWAP? We'll see what happens there. Definitely been an ugly day for a lot of stocks in the market. All right, let's keep going. Let's take a look at some other ones. Industrials. Let's go towards the airlines. As the airlines that I've been talking about, how they could get hit because of the oil going more expensive, right? That's not what they want to see. You're seeing American Airlines right back down there to 14s. I'm looking for American Airlines to come down towards 13s or 12s because I will definitely take a shot there if we get back down there. But it doesn't look good right now. It's just kind of just stair-stepping its way down right now. And I don't think it's going to turn around big to the upside because oil is going more expensive. And we're thinking about potentially recession concerns and things like that. Not something that I think you're going to see a bunch of buying in American Airlines. And yesterday I talked about how that could be a negative for like an Airbnb as, of course, traveling starts to show maybe potentially some hits because of a recession. And you guys can see Airbnb coming down fast today. We'll see if this actually starts to break down. But how's the Hilton looking like? How's the Marriott looking like? These stocks were just recently starting to really push there in early Jan and February, now have been breaking down and could keep going lower. Marriott actually looks like a good short here as it's tried multiple times here to get back up there towards the 165s and just keeps rejecting. Could be right back here towards the 157. We'll see what happens there. All right, this is a Synthetic Thursday. Yeah, did you hear that from Joel Elconin? I'm sure he's out there calling it the Synthetic Thursday, talking about it. And the market basically flat. I mean, I wouldn't say it's flat. I mean, overall, market is not looking too bad on the day. It is coming back here, but there was definitely some hit in technology. That's the area that I think you got to kind of focus on today. And that's what's turned us around. I mean, what led us higher, right? It was these bigger names like Apple, it was Microsoft, it was Google, it was Tesla going back higher, right? AMD going higher. Those aren't going higher right now. So something happened today. The only question is, will they come back for these names? That's why I kind of keep an eye out on like an Apple, because to me, it's the most bullish of these charts and should get the move back up as long as there's some buy the dippers coming back in. We'll see what happens there. Bank earnings next week. That's going to definitely shake everything up easy. As we get into the banks, we'll find out what happens. Carly, you got to catch me finally live. It's good to see you in the chat. Definitely good to catch you also live, right? I mean, you guys tune in, but I tune in for you guys also. Let me know if you guys see a move or want to talk about something. Raz says, I think we go back up tomorrow, but I hope not. I mean, hey, we can always find bounces, right? It doesn't mean that we're just going to go straight down. And I think that that's the important thing, right? I've talked about how I think we could get back here towards like the 405 and then find a bounce. But it's going to be mainly about also just keeping your eyes on what goes on with these bank stocks. They have been starting to go a little bit lower in the last 2 or 3 days, and we're keeping an eye on it. But for right now, there isn't negative news to make me run away from the market. But if that happens, trust me, the market has very good over exuberance to the upside right now, especially with these tech names leading. If we do get finally negative news, I could see the SPY reacting fast to the downside. And that's where we got to be careful, because this could just be a trap. And the only way you're going to know is hindsight 2020. The truth is, nobody knows where this market's going. And if they tell you, they're lying. Let me just tell you. So I can tell you right now, even myself, that's why I've been trying to just stick with it on a daily basis, trying to play kind of more of just really quick swings, even on these tech swings. Yes, I got ahead of Microsoft today. I'm letting it work. But if it comes back to my break-even price, I get out. I don't battle on a day like this, because the whole idea is to look to finally see if you get that turnaround. Right now, we started to see it, but will it continue going back away from technology and hitting those bank stocks is really what could be the concern to the downside. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look at some other action. EVgo tanking today. Yeah, and it's going to happen, right? EVgo was strong as of late, and then right back down, especially when days like today happen. What is a day like today? It's to me, a risk off type of day. So the growth names, not where I want to be. Look at the ARKK. This tells me a lot, team. And I look at this a lot of the times. Is it a growth day? Is it not a growth day? Well, just look at ARKK. Look how much is in the red there. I only got 2 names in the green, and some of these down big. TWOU down 10%, right? I mean, it's not an easy day. PACB just got an upgrade, now getting hit, right? Roku now coming right back down. This could be right back down there to 55, 50s. We'll see what happens there in Roku. It was starting to make its way back. Even Zoom starting to make its way back. Could be right back down. Coin was starting to push higher, right? Had tried to get into the 80s. We still haven't found out what negative news we're going to find out from Coin, right? This could go lower too. I could see Coin going right back down to 34s. So just as quickly as we were thinking maybe ARKK could really get going above that 40, today we got slapped right back down on those growth names. So we got to be careful, especially with that growth type of trade, right? We don't want to just give up the gains, especially when we start giving a nice little up move. Like let's say Unity, if I would have stayed in the position, didn't take the gains on this big green day, and then running out of the position yesterday, well, guess what? This would have come right back to my entry, and I would have got nothing. And that's not what we're looking for. As traders, we got to be taking profits when possible, especially when we're in a take the money and run type of market. And this seems like this is still the environment. All those tech traders, be careful. You could have had a really nice up move in these tech names, and then eventually that gets wiped out. Not saying that's going to happen to you, but like always, you got to understand both sides to the coin. All right. What else is out there? Carmen, something happened today. Algo's programmed to short the market after the latest round of FOMO. What I honestly think it was it was just kind of profit taking. Some people taking some profits. And then what? Of course, if there's no more buyers in the tech because they're scared of it just being a little bit too extended, then it's going to pull back a little bit. I don't think it was really the bears coming in, but we'll wait and find out, right? Who knew a baseball team was publicly traded? Which one you guys talking about? All right, let's keep going. Let's take a look there. AI keeps coming down there. Doesn't look good. And right back down there to 20. That's why I said you got to be careful with names like this, because it's just as easy as a stair step. And this one even took an elevator move up. They can elevator move down and really just destroy you. But you got to be careful on these names. And I'm sorry if you got caught in that AI. It was a hard one. That's for sure. Profit taking includes shorting. Yeah, it could be. It definitely it could be, right? It could be shorting. It could be profit taking. I don't think it's too much shorting because this market's pretty strong, but hey, you never know. You said it, Mitch. I'm so glad I took a small loss in GFI yesterday for my last batch of shares. No way off of that ship today. Yeah. And I think that's the important thing, right? Is that we got to know that the trade can always flip on us. It doesn't mean that it's going to every time. I mean, I want my trade to go well in Microsoft right now. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to get off of my game, right? We got to stay on our game. And when you're dealing with stocks that move 20% in one day, 60%, 80% in one day, you're going to have to be that much more on top of your game. So this is like playing the big leagues. And if anything, I play the little leagues game, to tell you the truth, team. And so you got to understand what you're going to be a part of. Are you going to be a part of a trade like AI that requires you to have pretty good speed? Or are you going to be a trader that kind of requires some slow action speed, and you can trade something like a Microsoft move on a 5 or 15 minute that really, I mean, at least you know a little bit more of how the patterns are going to work. This is why I try to work with more stocks that I can trade. I feel like I have underneath my belt versus trading a name like AI, where truth is I'm not going to have much edge on that type of chart because it does make 20% moves. That's what happens. And that's an easy way to make money, but also an easy way to get wrecked, right? Let's just be honest. All right, Tim Quast is shorting supplies. We'll see what happens there. Path and AI, two tails of AI. We'll see. Path is a little bit different. We'll see if that can get moving there. That one's also on the downside. I'll tell you right now, Path rejected a move that's important here. It was looking like it was starting to get towards the breakout levels, towards that 18, and a hard little breakdown on this last day here. So we'll see what happens. If it breaks this gap on the 1560s, it doesn't look good. It probably fill this gap on the downside and be right back down there towards 14s. So we'll see what happens there on Path. That's not a good candle, at least on the daily chart right now. And what do I see there? 3 attempts to get to the 18, failing as you try to get towards the 1750 today. Delta flipping positive for the first time in a while. Let's take a look there. Delta, BAL, Delta does not look good. Oh, you're talking about like Delta for the options. You see that one, Walter? You actually got me there. Delta is actually reversing a little bit. Is the Q's coming back? That's what it is. Yeah, Q's right on the VWAP. We'll see what happens here in the last 10 minutes of the market. We've got about 14 minutes left here. Keep dropping in some tickers, team. What other ones you guys want to take a look at? I got more for you, but if you guys don't got any, I'll just keep running through. All right, let's go to some other areas to kind of keep an eye on what's going on. I did want to just take a little peek. How did the smaller banks do today, like First Republic? And it's kind of just hanging in there. JPM, that looks like it wants to get hit here towards the end of the day, but it really go anywhere today. Just kind of going sideways a little bit to the upside, but this has been dragging as of late. All right, let's keep going. Let's take a look at some other names. Let's take a look at some of the ones that got hit hard yesterday, like the steel names. Nucor bouncing back a little bit today. Valero got hit hard yesterday. And then look at this. Gets hit hard yesterday. And shout out to Shannon. I don't know if she's here right now, but she actually called this during start swing trading that she was in there off the support there. I think it was like 129 that she got after. Or it was 127.90s, I think, that she got after. But man, she killed it on this Valero. Came back today, right back up there to the 135s. That's a hard move to deal with. I'll tell you that. As a trader, there's not many times that you're going to see Valero put in a candle like that, right? Like a big red, almost recovering the whole candle today in just one shebang for Valero, right back up. All right, Jay Rice, what are you looking out there, man? What do you see? All right, keeping up with you guys. I see some names dropping in here. Let's go through them. All right, I see some other ones. No worries. I got you guys. Let's go through it. Valero with a really nice move there. I'll keep an eye on these oil names. I'll tell you one thing. I don't feel like shorting them right now. And that's the interesting part. I'm just going to keep an eye to see if we actually start showing some weakness. But man, OPEC put the scare in me as we're right back up there on the XLE to the 86. All right, let's go through some of these. Bank of America being mentioned by Vape King. Really keeping an eye on this kind of 2760 level. We're already beneath it right now. And you can see how we kind of been using it as resistance, prior day as support. So let's see if we can get back up above 2770s. I'll raise it up a little bit. But if we don't do that, it doesn't look good in Bank of America. Let's go to AMC. Roberto, AMC. We'll see if that can get back above the 405 spot just for the intraday action. Overall, on the hourly, it's not doing much. You need to get back through this resistance around the 410s if you actually want to start closing some of this gap space to the upside. We'll see if it ever gets up there and starts to fill in that gap. All right, let's keep going. GME, let's take a look at that one. GameStop getting a little bit of a bounce back. And one thing that I could see here is that it came back to the support, just slightly cracked it, now starting to work its way back. So look to see if you can reclaim this kind of trend line. So you can see how this comes right into play right now where we're at. That's what I'm going to be watching. Do we get back above these levels towards the 23s, 2330s? If you can get into the 2330s, then start pushing into 2380s. This is going to be looking decent for a run to 25. But of course, how will that work out? Or will it just come back into the gap zone? Because if you crack this again, this kind of 22 level, we could be right back into this gap. We'll find out what happens there in GME. Definitely hit the like. Appreciate you, Carly. Let's keep it going, team. Let's take a look at Humana now being brought up in the chat. I like how it went above this 510 level and you pulled back right here towards kind of yesterday's support, 501.45. Let's take a look at how it traded today. It went towards right here out the gates, 502.50s, really kind of holding in here. Now I'd be looking for some pullbacks towards like kind of 510s to get in on this name. Doesn't look too bad. It really had a nice day. I'm just looking for pullback opportunities to try to jump into any of the healthcare plan names. There's multiple names here, right? There's UNH, there's CVS, there's ELV, right? You see how they're all kind of bullish, right? They're moving with the industry-wide move. They're not moving with their own kind of micro move. I think that's an important outlook. CVS is one definitely to keep on watch. Molina Health is one to kind of keep on watch. There's a lot of them in this space. So keep an eye out. We'll see if they can actually keep moving. McKesson, another one, right? Look at that. Nice little move higher. We'll see if these can keep pushing up. Not a bad one there. This McKesson, nice move there. Healthcare, man. It's been strong as of late. And I know that a lot of times we focus on where the money is versus where the money's going. The money's going right now, at least, shifting into some healthcare. So are we seeing some profit take in technology and shifting around into some healthcare names is something that I'll be calling the question on. All right, let's keep it going. Let's take a look at some other ones here. CNC. Well, let's take a look there. All right, this one definitely pulling back there. Healthcare plan name also. Let's take a look at that. Nice little move back above 65 today. You were in a bearish trend. Now you're starting to get back above the 65.27. So I'd look for pullbacks into this space, somewhere in between this kind of 64.80s, 65.27s, right? So I'd go to the hourly chart and I'd be looking for the little pullback into that space to try to get the pullback buy opportunity for CNC. It doesn't look too bad. I don't know about this one, so I got to do a little bit more research before I say that I like it. But at least on the daily outlook, it doesn't look too bad. Big levels for us is going to be when we push again the next time. If you push higher, do you break through the 66.38 and make your way to the 67 area? If you get to 67, you're definitely pushing out of the bearish channel, at least this bearish chart right here. And some could say this looks like kind of like a head and shoulders inverse. I wouldn't say that. This kind of looks like to me, what? This looks like a either frying pan bottom or a bottoming kind of effect, right? That kind of bottoming you, right? We'll see what happens on there if this starts kind of curling back to the upside. All right, WWE definitely doing the SmackDown move all over it. You guys know how it is. It's continuing higher. I would leave that alone at some point because it is going to get to like kind of the arbitrage pricing, but we'll see what happens there on WWE. I'm leaving it alone right now. ACI getting stronger again. This is one that I'm keeping a close eye on, and I don't know if I'm going to take the trade, but it doesn't look too bad. Got to watch this one tomorrow to see if it starts pushing back. Albertsons, of course, they have like this deal going on. It's kind of like an arbitrage play, but just watch out there. Never heard of that one yet? Yeah, I mean, hey, there's always one that you never heard of, right? And I think that you got to always try to catch someone out there. Frying pan bottom, there you go. Check that one out. I got you, man. You haven't heard that one? That's the frying pan bottom. Everyone needs to know about the frying pan bottom. Man, you still looking for a buyer? Who wants some soccer team, right? Who has a couple billion just laying around out there? You need more than a couple, but man, that one's been going sideways. I remember when it did this little lift here in December. It's right back down there to those levels. Looks like they're struggling to find that buyer. Rivian, Teresa, what I got for you? Dallas. All right, let's take a look. Rivian, I've talked about how I want this at like $8 or $7 just because I want to long-term invest on this. But other than that, you need to get back here towards 1582. Talked about it yesterday. We took the look at this. I've drawn this line here. Really need to kind of recover this day where you really got hit hard in Rivian. So one thing that I also do on this one is just put a monthly trend. And so you can see how on the monthly trend, you're just down stepping. You need to see it change the trend. Like here, it started to actually change the trend for a second. You started to actually see what? A higher low. And then immediately that came right back into play. Lower lows on the monthly, lower lows on the monthlies, right? Start to see this turn around. Get back through the kind of the March month. That's 1774. You need to get way up there for you to change the trend. And until that happens, you're going to see some declines in Rivian. Do I think that the story is completely done? No, I kind of like the story. I like the trucks. I've seen the truck. But hey, is that going to be enough to make the stock go up? At least for right now, I think one thing to keep on watch is also Tesla. Tesla loves to run, and then you see Rivian play catch up. You see Lucid play catch up. You see Ford, GM play catch up, right? Unless you're seeing a nice focus going into the auto manufacturers, you're going to see focus go away from a name like Rivian, right? And so until we see that attention go back to those names, I would stay away. But like always, you determine what you trade. All right, we'll see what else is going on. Disney. That's an interesting one. It's trying to get back through 100. I know that some people were saying, what about Netflix and Disney? Which one would you like here? That's a hard one for me, team, because Disney and Netflix is back, but Netflix has made a huge run while Disney really hasn't run, right? It's gone pretty much nowhere since last year. If you look at May, where we were at last year, we're actually lower than that, right? And I mean, that's not what you want to be seeing right now. We're back here towards kind of June or July pricing. But what plays more of an opportunity? What puts you into more of an opportunity is going to be, to me, Disney. But do I like it long term? No. Why? Because they're not willing to spend the content to keep themselves in the lead. But one thing that you can clearly see here is the bottoming action here off the bottom, right? So you can see here how this is off the weekly, and you really do have some bottoming action here. 1, 2, 3 bottoming actions in the same area. I'd really kind of keep watch to see if you break this candle here, 91.86, but it does look like it's trying to come back towards 110. We'll see if it actually gets the motor going on Walt Disney back through that 110. I'm hopeful with Disney as I'm a bag holder. Hey, well, you're going to need to see this pattern get back up here. If you can get this pattern to give you a move up here, you're going to be looking pretty decent, right? So we'll put a little green area there. If we see Disney get back up there, it'll be looking good. All right, Baba, let's go to it. Let's see what happens on that one. How did that one close up the day? Looks like it's red on the day right now. Looks like it's starting to pull back. Could fill in this gap on the downside. One thing is, I think that, we started to look to see if Baba was going to lead the turnaround. It kind of led the turnaround first. Came back all the way towards this 80 in February and early March. Bounced with the tech names. Started getting to go. So I think how U.S. tech goes, probably Baba goes. If we start seeing our tech names continuing to the downside, I think you see also Baba go to the downside. And appreciate you signing up, Teresa. You can always check out all our shows. We don't just got this show. This is Start Swing Trading, where we talk about swing trading. We have a pre-market prep show, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern. That's our flagship show. Check that out, pre-market prep. And at 9 a.m. to about 11 a.m., we have, of course, live trading. That's where we do some live day trading. So I definitely recommend, if you like this show, you definitely like that one, Teresa. So check that out. Appreciate you coming in. I don't think I've seen you in the chat before, so it's always good to see a new face. Definitely smash up the like out there, team. We got over 150 of you guys today. If you guys enjoyed the show, enjoyed me taking a look at some names, like always, you guys can check out all the shows that we do. Definitely pre-market preps, our flagship. Live trading is where you guys see me put on a lot of these trades, like the Microsoft trade today. I'm keeping it overnight as we're about to hit the bell here. Q's still kind of lagging right around the VWAP. We didn't get like this huge breakout to the upside. So I'm staying in overnight on Microsoft from 285.55. We'll see what happens there on Microsoft. Will we keep going lower in the technology trade? I think that's what we've got to keep an eye out. And of course, if the banks are going to go lower, because if we wake up tomorrow, get to the market, and banks are lower, technology is lower, I definitely would expect to see the SPY lower than what we have right now, like the 406. Just going to have to be a wait and see period as we find out. Of course, tomorrow will be kind of that synthetic Friday or synthetic Thursday, they're calling it, right? Because we don't have a market on Friday. So find out what happens. It's going to be something definitely to keep an eye out on. Will we see the flush down in technology, or we get the rise right back up? Find out tomorrow, of course, right here on Benzinga. We'll see you next time, team. Smash the like. Appreciate the love. Pity pats. It's always good to see you guys out there. Milky, Quantum, all you guys out there. Carly, it's always good to have you guys in the chat. I definitely enjoy my time here, and that's a lot thanks to you guys. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Hit the like on the way out and enjoy your night.